It's Sternberg Outdoors here. We're back at our small cabin here in Longville, Minnesota. Today is a big day. We decided that we're going to put in a well. Now, we've been all over YouTube trying to figure this out, and one of the issues we found is there's not a really good video on how to do this. We're in an area where the water table is pretty low right now. We're thinking, under 25 feet we're going to hit water, and I don't really know how to do it. But I also know that most of YouTube doesn't know how to do it. So I found the guy. Who's going to be able to do this. This is my buddy Larry. Larry's
Hi.
He's a master well pounder. And Larry, why don't you tell us what we got here today, how we're going to start this process, and what really goes into this.
Okay, first of all, you need a sand point. Preferably, if you're in a good sandy soil, at least a 60 grit screen. They make these in 36-inch and 4 foot. We have got a 4-foot sand point. Then we've got 5-foot pieces of 1.25-inch pipe. These are the couplers that you use for pounding a well are driver couplers. They're stronger than the normal couplers because if you use normal couplers, they will break and you will not get a good suction on water.
So we're just going to attach those as we go.
As we
pound. Okay.
When we start to do this, we are going to take a fence post hole digger, dig down about 4 feet into the ground. So we've got a nice easy start into the ground. Then from there, we will start putting the pipe in and pounding the pipe. This here is an 80-pound homemade well pounding driver. The heavier your well pounders, the faster and easier it is to pound a well.
So we're going to pound that drive point down. We're going to attach 5-foot sections until we get down to where Larry thinks we've hit water. And then eventually, we'll get you some video along the way, but that's going to be our pressure tank and our well pump that is going to pump the water from our well up into our small cabin. So we will check back in a little bit. We're hopeful. So we took a post hole digger and drove down as far as we could. And now we have the pipe attached. And then Larry's going to put on the drive cap here, which is what we'll use to pound it down. And that's just called a drive cap, is that correct?
Just called a drive cap.
Okay. And that's pretty hard. Was it steel?
Yes, it's a big chunk. It's all steel, heavyweight.
Okay.
It weighs probably about 3/4 of a pound.
And that's something you put to the end to drive and then ultimately take it off and add sections?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, we'll come back to the pound. All right, so we have 4-foot sand point ready with the slots and the screens in it to allow water. That's what's going to sit in the water table. And then we have a 5-foot pipe with a drive cap on the end. And when we get that down in the ground, we'll add a section. We'll show you how to do that in a minute. So we have about, what do we got in there, Larry?
About 10 feet.
We got 10 feet down, and we're finishing up this next section. Larry's going to show the pounding. Making water, baby. Go ahead, Josh. Josh is pounding our well. It's going to take a while at this rate with Josh. All right, he quit. Larry, show him how you're really supposed to do it.
Pounding away.
So, 27 feet later, day and a half of pounding. It's really been fun. I have blisters all over my hands, and I can't open them all the way. But we're gonna test, and I think we're close. So Larry's gonna drop the wrench down and please water.
We use a small wrench for weight so we don't get anything else hung up in the pipe, because the wrench will come out nice and straight. And here we go. We heard splashdown.
Splash is good. Splash is good. Splash is.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. I hear it.
That's water.
Start being wet. How much?
Saw water just come off it.
Well, like right there, right in there. About a foot of water.
So we have some more pounding.
We have a foot and a half, about a foot of water in the pipe. Good sign.
Okay, so we're day 2 of this Sandpoint well. We have pounded, what do we got in there, Josh? 26. We're about 28 feet.
Yeah.
So it's a little deeper than what we thought. No, we got water. I dropped the string down once, but this is really what we've done. We just took a string, a dry string, and with a wrench, and we're going to drop it down. And hopefully you can hear the splash. And then we'll come up and find out where we're wet. Ooh, did you hear that?
I heard it.
And then we got that much more. So just as I'm playing with it, I'm going to lift it. You'll be able to hear the splash. Oh, that one's too high. Hear that?
Yeah.
So that's definitely water. And then we got quite a bit of play here until it's taut. So I'm going to lift this up now and we'll measure how wet we are. Hopefully we got 6-7 feet at least. And then we're going to, if we do, we're going to try to pump it up and we'll have ourselves a usable well. So here we coming up. Dry, dry, dry. And so I'm just feeling on the string for wet. Oh, wet right here. It's wet right here. So then, oh boy, we got a lot.
Jeez.
So we're gonna measure that. That's how much into the water table we are. We're gonna lay this down over here and measure it, kind of see how deep into this thing we are.
Want me to hold one end?
I'll just lay it out. The water on that. So we got roughly 9.5 feet into the well. Truth be told, I think we got a well. So we're gonna hook up the pump and we'll show you that step next. And so we have successfully found water. We have plenty of water in the pipe, upwards of 12 feet. And now we're hooking up the pump on top of the pressure tank. And then we're going to do the plumbing from there, and we'll show you those steps as we go.
We have hit water. Now we are hooking up the pump. Right now I am hooking up the electrical power to the pressure switch on the pump. And you buy a pump, they have paperwork telling you how to hook them up. There's also instructions in the cap of the pressure pump switch of how to hook up. Pretty easy, self-explanatory in all the paperwork. Okay, what did I do with my screwdriver? I think it's on the boat.
Oh, I see it.
Oh, damn. Let's go to the truck now. I got to fill us in there.
So We got tank to the pressure tank. We got the pump to the pressure tank. We have, now we're going to attach the well to the pump. And we'll show you what that's going to look like here in a minute. Larry, why don't you explain what we're going to do here?
Let me get all my parts here.
Larry's grabbing parts. Because Larry's kind of a part master.
Okay, the next point from going to the pipe that you pounded in to get your water to the pump, the next few pieces you need, one is a brass check valve. Make sure you check to make sure there's an arrow on them showing the direction of the flow that the water goes. Arrow points up. So that means the up is always where the water is exiting the pipe.
Okay.
That goes onto your pipe. Then from there, we will hook up nipples, tees, and a union, which will convert over to the pump, which will have an elbow and an 1.25 nipple.
Alright, we'll show you what that looks like in just a minute.
Okay, we have dry run the hookup to make sure our pipe lineup is correct. That means you don't have to put any pipe dope thread or anything on your pipe fitting. You just lightly screw the pipes together and that, so you can take them apart and re-put your pipe dope on in the initial setup. This is just a dry run to make sure our height for getting our pipe to mount to the pump, which we are right on.
Perfect.
Okay, we're finished hooking up the pump. We have water. We got the water lines ran. We're going to turn the pump on and do a check run. We got hooked up water for a shower and for a sink in the kitchen. So if all goes good, we're set to rock.
Ready on? Okay, make it happen. We have water.
Where's the hotline?
It's not hooked up yet. We don't have a water heater.
It's not even that cold.
It's not. We'll run it a little bit.
Should I drink it?
No.
I'm gonna.
Here, a videotape me drink it.
How
You
is
gotta
it?
wait till it gets good and cold.
First cup of water from the shallow well. Big shout out to Larry here.
He's a little bit dusty.
I got a name for Larry's business.
It's delicious.
Larry of all trades.
Larry of all trades. Anything for a buck.